The number of foreign ricochet allowed into sumo is strictly controlled, since the Sumo Association doesn't want sumo to lose its Japanese flavour. There's a rule of thumb which says that 2 foreign ricochet are allowed per stable, but there are 53 stables, and it seems unlikely that there will be 100 or more foreigners in the game. Higonoumi, ex-amateur champion, in fact was a student, an amateur Yokozuna, here fighting Tochinohana. Slowish start there by the 2 wrestlers. Tochinohana with 7 losses so far, not doing at all well, but he's got an injured foot there. Previous basho he also did badly, only had 3 wins, and that's Tochinohana being spun over again. Makiotoshi throw there for Higonoumi, and that was Higonoumi's 4th win. So Higonoumi's got 4 wins and 6 losses. Not a comfortable position to be in. A couple of more losses and he'll beat Makikoshi and down the ranks a bit. Chiyotenzan from the Kokonoe stable fights Wakanoyama from the Musashigawa. So these are 2 top stables clashing here. Both men crashing in with the heads to start off with. That's Wakanoyama pushing his head in just under Chiyotenzan's face. Chiyotenzan with 4 wins so far. Wakanoyama doing marginally better with 5 wins. And they both have got one side hand on. That's the Hanmi position, the opened out position with no belt grip on the other side. And there's an attempt at an arm breaking throw there, the kotenagi, but Chiyotenzan seemed to run out of steam at the end of that, and Wakanoyama forced him out. So win there for Wakanoyama, his 6th win, which levels him up with his score of the previous basho. 5 more bouts to go for both of them, and a chance to escape the makikoshi. Next bout between Kaiho. He's not doing at all well. He's got a bad arm there, as we can see. He's had 7 losses so far. His 2 wins that he's had, nevertheless, were good ones. He beat 1 Ozeki and he beat 1 Sekiwaki, so didn't seem to keep that level of win up. Now there's a slap there from Kaiho, slightly unusually slapped, and then kept Tamakasuga on the move. Tamakasuga, though, weathering that. Was very much in the balance there, that particular match, especially in the opening phases, but Tamakasuga much the heavier of the 2, some 30 kilos heavier. And Kaiho certainly putting up a fight here. Well, that was close. Both went down at the same time there, but it's the referee gives it, the Gyoji gives it to Tamakasuga. So 4th win for Tamakasuga. And that was the 8th loss, and makikoshi for Kaiho. Now Tochisakae. Previous bashos we've seen him going down to those slaps, the hatakikomi slaps. A bit weak on that one. Here fighting Takanowaka. Fought him once before and lost that. So there's some more slaps, so it looks like that's the wisdom maybe. Well, those slaps didn't affect him there. Tochisakae weathered that whirlwind of slaps from Takanowaka and drove him out with oshidashi. So 3 wins for Tochisakae. Previous basho he had 8 wins and 7 losses, and relatively new to this Makuuchi division. Tochinonada against Takanonami. These 2 have had 12 previous head-to-heads. Takanonami's won 8 of them. Well, Takanonami's not doing at all well this basho. That's the man on the left there. He's only got 3 wins. 2 of them were against Ozekis. There, Tochinonada locking in tight under the arms, trying to float Takanonami out. Takanonami uses that high overhand grip on the belt and spins him over with the overarm throw. It's one of his favourite techniques. Takanonami's about 6'5", and he takes his long arms over the top. And then he uses his legs to hook as well. He's got a range of techniques, unlike some of these sumo wrestlers who are quite often just one technique men. Tochiazuma started very young against Wakanosato, who also started very young. Wakanosato started in primary school, Tochiazuma Of course, grew up in a stable. His father's the stable boss. So, low start there by Tochiazuma. Head drives into Wakanosato's chest. But no movement from that slam. Both of them locked into place in the center of the ring. Change of grip there from Wakanosato. Always a dangerous move, that, to take one arm over and down and try and thread it through. And Tochiazuma sufficiently canny enough to use that for maximum effect. Has an interesting position there. Tochiazuma's got front belt grip with both hands, and he's got his head locked in tight against Wakanosato's chest. It looks a weak position, but it's not. It's quite difficult to finish the opponent off in that position. Well, he's got his head up a bit there. And there, well, beautifully played by Tochiazuma. It looked like Wakanosato was about to drive him over the edge, but he just skipped along the inside edge, round to his right, and that was enough to send Wakanosato over the edge. Let's watch that end bit again. There's the change of grip, which was a bit dangerous. Now on that change, that's when Tochiazuma also changes his grip and comes in, starts pushing into the armpits of Wakanosato. And then Wakanosato starts to power forward, gets Tochiazuma on the edge, who then skips round to his right. Oh, you can see that, pushes down on the back of Wakanosato's head and drives him over and down and off the dohyo. 6th win there for Tochiazuma. That levels him up with Wakanosato. Already had 6 wins. So both of them doing reasonably well. Now Kotomitsuki and Musoyama. Now Musoyama lost to Kotomitsuki in the last basho, and he's been waiting for this rematch. He certainly didn't expect to get beaten by this newcomer in virtually his first basho. And there's Musoyama showing him what it's all about. One hand on the belt, one on the throat, bent him backwards and drove him straight out. Well, Kotomitsuki is a good wrestler. He's very technical, but he looks a nice guy. Maybe not hard enough, but we'll see. It's quite a pattern to come in and make a big upset in an early basho, and then after that the pressure comes on. They meet the higher and higher ranks, and then they drop down and find their level. Now here we have Dejima against Akinoshima. These two have fought 18 times, and Dejima's won 12 of them. That was a hard start from Dejima. He just drove his head into Akinoshima's chest. Akinoshima following up, touch and go on the edge there, and Akinoshima tries to arch backwards and flip Dejima. Bit like the wrestling suplex move, but looked to me like he's back crashed down before Dejima touched. So a win there for Dejima. That's his 5th win. He's got 5 losses already. Not a good record for an Ozeki wrestler. And that was 7th loss for Akinoshima. Now he's getting a bit close to makiotoshi. Takanohana there. Musashimaru, both lining up. Not they're going to fight each other. That will be on the last day. Now Miyabiyama against Kaiho. 2 Ozekis against each other. These two have fought 10 times. Kaiho's won 8 of them. Miyabiyama came into Makuuchi Sumo, top sumo, in '99. Kaiho's been there since '93. 28 years old Kaiho, 23-year-olds Miyabiyama, younger of the two, but that was a lackluster performance there from Miyabiyama. There was no real drive from that tachiai. He came out slowly, and Kaiho dealt with it easily. Just absorbed that shock and shoved him out with oshidashi. 8th win for Kaiho. He's among the front runners. He's got a good, strong chance to win this basho. Let's watch that one again. So a slowish start there. You can see his arms were doing nothing. Miyabiyama came out with his arms hanging down. Those arms should have been looking for Kaiho's body. One sense is he'd almost given up, really, before he started. Now Musashimaru. Maru, as he's known in the sumo world, fighting Tosanoumi. These two have had a lot of fights in the past, 25 of them. Musashimaru's won most of them, 20 of them to be precise. Musashimaru, along with Takanohana, the front runner there. You see the 9 wins and no losses. Previous tournament he had 4 losses, so doing fair bit better than last basho. So Musashimaru there rises up fairly quickly. He lets Tosanumi smash into his upper body, but he's got the weight to stop that shot. Tosanumi trying to keep it open, but as he clashed in there again, Musashimaru just pulled him down. 10th win, 10th straight win for Musashimaru, 6th loss for Tosanumi. Tosanumi's last basho, he had only 7 wins and 8 losses. So that's his 6th loss for this basho, not very far from his previous basho result. So there you see Musashimaru just drops his arms, turns his head slightly to one side, absorbs Tosanumi's charge into his upper body, which absorbs the shock of Tosanumi's charge, and then Tosanumi starts to come forward. A few little pushes, and then a pull, and then down he goes. So 10th win there for Musashimaru, and now the other grand champion, Takanohana, against Kotonowaka. Kotonowaka marginally heavier, 168 kilos, some 10 kilos heavier than Takanohana. Takanohana with 9 straight wins, Kotonowaka with 4 wins. Well, these two have fought 38 times, and Takanohana's won 34 of them. So Takanohana looking confident, certainly very confident in this basho. Comes straight out, slowish start there, but he gets the belt quickly, which is what he wants. He's got that underarm grip. Takanohana on the far side there, and takes his hands off, pretty confident there. Hands came off, and yet he was still pushing Kotonowaka backwards. So 10th straight win for Takanohana. So at the end of day 10, Musashimaru and Takanohana still in the race for the Emperor's Cup. 10 wins, 10 straight wins each. Just behind Kaio and Kyokutenho with 8 wins and 2 losses. And behind them, Musoyama, Asashoryu, Asanowaka with 7 wins and 3 losses. All to play for still. Stay with us, we'll be back after the break with more sumo.